Hello and welcome to my channel. My name's Michelle and today I wanted to just share some thoughts. I just wanted to be able to speak them out loud. I have this habit of when I have these kinds of embryological thoughts, these meanderings of the mind, so to speak. I just share them with my friends. We chat about it, and then that's kind of it. And I don't really share those revelations a lot, even though I think, maybe I will. Maybe I'll make a video about it, but then I'm like, I don't know enough. I don't feel like an expert enough in order to talk about it. But you know what? I gotta stop with that because I'm never gonna feel like an expert if that's the way that I look at it. I'm never gonna feel confident enough sharing my opinion. So here we are. I'm gonna share my opinion and we're gonna talk about extroverted sensing. Extroverted sensing is a cognitive function that gets a lot of misunderstanding. People really don't understand it at all, and because of that, there's a lot of misconceptions and mistypings. A lot of people are like, oh, there's no way I use extroverted sensing, therefore no way I could have it, therefore I must be an intuitive. And there's this whole idea that only intuitives can have thoughts or something, or like the logic doesn't hold up when you really start to question it, and yet that doesn't stop the stigma and the gross misunderstanding going on in the community. So one of the greatest misunderstandings of extroverted sensing is just how it functions in general. A lot of people equate it to using the five senses. I can touch it, smell it, taste it, hear it, see it, and therefore I extroverted sensed. Because they hear the word sensing and they think senses and they think extroverted, so it's like you taking in the input of your sensational, your senses.
English is hard. Sometimes I don't know the words to say what I want to say, and I don't know where to even look up the words that I want to say. And sometimes I do know the word, I just can't think of it in the moment, and this is one of those moments where I wanted to come up with a better word than what I said, but I didn't, so I'm saying this, and I'm completely on a tangent now, I digress.
Because of this misconception that extroverted sensing is the five senses, people automatically assume they definitely don't have it. I mean, everyone uses their five senses. Come on, do you really think a cognitive function, which is, a mental process, really has only to do with your five senses? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Just think about that logic there for a second. Just consider that idea for a second. You're saying that, a quarter of the population of the world primarily has no thoughts and just perceives the world with its senses. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing else going on. They are so aware of the physical reality around them that, they really just have no time for these like complicated intuitive thoughts that we all deal with all the time, because we great special intuitives, we're really mental and cerebral, and no way an extroverted sensor could be cerebral. Well, and I've been thinking about this, and I'm trying to figure out why. Why do we continue to perpetuate this idea that extroverted sensing is the five senses and that's that? Well, I think it's because for intuitives, especially extroverted intuitives, in order to understand extroverted sensing, in order to take in the five senses naturally, we literally have to shut off our brain. So imagine for a second that your mind, when you look at things, is so focused on what's going on inside the head that it barely notices the details around it. Like, I can see the details, right? Like, I see that my book is turquoise, I see my cup of coffee, I see my microphone, right? But I'm not really seeing them per se, because I'm constantly connecting these ideas and these concepts, and I'm thinking about what I'm going to say next, and I'm thinking about how I'm appearing while I'm speaking, and then I'm thinking about, how much coffee I've had and if it's too much, and I'm thinking about where I got the microphone, and then I'm thinking about somebody asked me what kind of microphone I use, and then I sent them a link, and I hope that they buy it, and I hope that they make videos, and, the thoughts just keep going and going and going. And we have to imagine that in order to actually focus on the external world around us and actually take in the reality, we have to shut our mind down. Because for us, we do. You see, in order for me to truly focus on just the details of the external world and just to take in my five senses, to hear, see, taste, smell, and be aware of these things, I completely have to shut off my mind. Like, I completely have to shut off my mind. One of the things that I really want to do coming up soon, which I am roping her into this the best I can, is to have my little sister, who's an ISFP, come and chat with me, because the way that she describes her use of extroverted sensing is fascinating. And then I've also talked to some ESTPs, and I also think the way that they talk about it is interesting. So I was chatting with Lou from Love Who, and we were talking about extroverted sensing because she's an ESTP, and we were talking about what the difference is, and I kind of expressed that thought, in order for me to experience my five senses, I have to completely shut off my mind, and it's like a super profound thing. And she talked about how her ESFJ sister also experiences a similar thing, that taking in the actual moment and being in the here and now takes so much work that it's a really special thing. Well, for extroverted sensors, ESFPs, ISFPs, ESTPs, and ISTPs, they don't have to just, it's not a big thing for them to focus on the reality of what's going on. It's not a huge change for them to perceive the physical reality around them and to perceive the nature of things. That's just how they are. And because it's a natural thing for them to be aware of what's going on around them, it's natural. They just can't stop doing it. It doesn't require shutting off the mind. They can perceive while they continue to have thoughts. And what's interesting about extroverted sensing is it uses introverted intuition, and introverted intuition is trying to make sense of what it's taking in and try to find the congruent pattern between these things that it's taking in. Where is this scene headed? What is, where are all these things that are happening around me heading towards? It's not like they need to focus all their energy to see it. It's not like they're purposely putting energy into their five senses. No, they just perceive what's going on around them. Extroverted sensors want facts. They want reality. They want truth. They don't want this theoretical mind space. They can be in the theoretical mind space, sure, but they want to see it practically applied. They want to see it validated. They want to see the reality of this theory that you're talking about, and they will talk theory with you. I work with an ESTP, he's my boss. We have had intense philosophical conversations about the state of the world and where the world is heading, and the state of our workplace and how things are going there. But those are short-lived conversations because he'd rather deal with the issues at hand right now, right here. He doesn't want to talk about the issues 5 months from now because he truly believes you can't really predict that far ahead. You can have a vague general idea, but you got to be present in the here and now and be in the moment. And I think a better way to describe extroverted sensing, as opposed to somebody who uses their five senses, is that somebody is in the present moment. They can leave the moment, they can go to the future, they can go to their thoughts, but they're in the present moment most of the time, and their thoughts are usually about the present moment, making sense of the present moment. I mean, an extroverted sensor who's an ESTP or ISTP, they're going to think about the logic and about the system and about the way that the world is working. And the ESFP and ISFP are going to think about the way that they feel and what is right and wrong about what they perceive in the here and now. And I just want us to dispel this idea that it's the five senses. That is just BS. It's not the five senses. We can all use the five senses. It is being in the present moment, being aware of the present moment. They are in the here and now. And it doesn't take a lot of work for them to be in the here and now. And because they're in the here and now naturally, they have plenty of room for thoughts about how to solve the problems of the here and now, and how to address things that are happening right now, which is why they make great leaders, because they're adept at reacting real time. They're not the best at planning the future for the team or for the workplace or as a ruler, like say if they were a king, but they would be really adept at reacting to things that come up in the moment. Things that come up and throw off the introverted intuitive Dom, the INTJ's master plan, something that comes in and throws off the plan of an ESTP. All right, I just changed my plan. All right, I just adapt. They're incredibly adaptable. And in some ways, I'd say more adaptable than NPs, potentially in a lot of ways. But ultimately, the whole point of this was just to say, get the thought out of your head. Extroverted sensing is not about the five senses. It's just not. It's about the moment and being in the moment. And I really like Socionics' word for extroverted sensing, which is force, which is asserting yourself, which is, collecting and powerful. And that makes sense. With extroverted sensors, they are the people that command the room, that command the attention of other people. They are the ones that have command of themselves and their bodies and take advantage of the situations around them. Whereas NPs, we're just constantly pontificating about potential possibilities of what could happen, what we could do, and how we could do it, and all these different things. And when it comes to actually applying these ideas, we're not as good at it. We're not as good because we don't value extroverted sensing. We don't value being in the moment. We value being in our thoughts, and we value being in the future, and we value that. Extroverted sensors value the here and now. They value truth. They value reality. So my thoughts on extroverted sensing. I talked a lot longer than I wanted to, but hopefully I can cut this down to, a more reasonable length. Thank you so much for watching my random thoughts about extroverted sensing. I hope you enjoyed. If you're an extroverted sensor, go ahead and write down below anything you like to add or take away. And if you think that you're an intuitive, does this change your mentality on whether or not you think that you're an intuitive, or if you think you might actually be a sensor? Maybe you should wait until you hear the interview with my ISFP sister. We're going to talk at some point about the way that we experience memories and the way that we take in information when we go into a new place, the kinds of things that we perceive, because our perceptions are so different. It is beautiful, fascinating, and amazing. But with that, I digress. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more from me, go ahead and like and subscribe and, hit the notification bell, because I guess that does something. And if you want to join in on some of the conversations with me, if you want to start a conversation with me, you can follow me on Twitter or at Instagram, or you can join the Discord and just have fun with all of us nerds. We are the nerd herd, so come join the nerd herd. Thanks so much for watching. Have a beautiful, amazing, fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.